Recording in progress.
Hi, Marianne. If you're talking, you're muted.
Hi, George. It's Marianne Cataldo.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good, good.
I'm excited about today's class.
Me too, because I was using DocuSign last week and I missed the class before that. And I was like, oh no, is this what I was going to learn?
Oh yeah, the other class was on how to create that static data form template.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
So no, I thank you for this. The first class was great. So using it more often. I actually I sell mobile homes, so everything I put into DocuSign are documents that aren't from the Massachusetts Realtor Association. So sometimes navigating through that is through my documents, like the purchase and sales agreement and the bill of sale and things like that, or that's a little tricky.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you a couple of tricks myself on how to bring documents in, so you'll appreciate it.
Perfect. I know I will. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hi, Janet.
She's muted.
You're muted. I'm going to have to change the settings. I made it so that everyone automatically mutes when they come in. I'm going to have to go in and change that.
Howdy, howdy ho. Yep.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, Marianne. I haven't seen you or heard you in a coon's age.
I know, Janet. How are you?
I'm great. It's nice to be with you. And I'm sorry I can't be live. You really don't want to see this picture. I'm telling you, it's a charity that I keep the video off. But yeah. Hey, did you tune into family reunion at all virtually?
Some of it, yes. Some of it. I've been very busy, so I'm in and out. I see a lot of it on Facebook.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to see you know, some of the videos again. The session this morning. George, did you see Mo's inspirational session this morning?
No, I had training, an agent training I had to do this morning,
Yeah.
but they will be on, they will record them, so I get to watch them.
Yep, it was,
Right.
it was awesome. Yep.
Hi, Anastasia.
Good.
Afternoon. I almost said good morning. Hello. That's how my day's been going. Thank you for your work reorganizing the DocuSign libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that a little today because I kind of wanted to do that one for this class,
Uh-huh.
kind of roll it out and let people talk about it. Hopefully it makes things easier
Mhm.
for agents. So,
Thanks.
hi, JJ. Irene. No, Janet, we're not doing autofill today. That was last week's. Today, we're learning how to upload and add documents to your room or rooms.
Okay, but was last week's canceled?
Nope.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, then I'll have to go on. It was recorded, right?
Yeah, I haven't made the video. I have the recording of it, so I haven't had a chance to cut it and crop it and upload it
Okay.
into our YouTube page. So if you want to email me after this and ask me for it, I can send you
Okay.
the raw version of it so you can watch it.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you so much.
You're
I'll make a
welcome.
note of that.
George, I'll send you my email also. That's the one I missed.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the things I'm going to be doing is when I record this while I'm teaching, but it really doesn't make the perfect learning video because there's so much interruptions on there. So I'm actually going to be creating videos that me just talking into the camera, showing people how to do things and creating videos for that. That way it's smoother, easier, shorter. People, aren't asking questions, so you can just get through the material and move on. So I will definitely send up the recording I made last week, but I will be creating these videos permanently and uploading them into our YouTube page, hopefully by the end of this month. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm trying something a little different. I'm going to be minimizing the screen that has everyone's face on it on my monitor that I'm using to teach, but I have my laptop here so that I can see it on that. So if anyone has a question, they can raise their hand or they can unmute and ask me the question. This way it'll make it easy for me to monitor the group and not miss any questions that people have without also distracting myself while I'm training on my screen. So I'm going to minimize that there. All right, and we're going to get started. It's 1:03. And I just want to get started now. I see a few more people coming in. All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming to today's class. Those of you that do not know me, my name is George Gattini. I am your Market Center Tech Trainer. And today's class, we're going to go over how to add documents to your DocuSign room. And believe it or not, I'm going to show you 6 different ways to do it. Some of them you know, some of them you don't. And hopefully by learning all these different ways to do it, you'll be able to apply those to whatever situation you're running into that works best for you. There's no right or wrong way. These are just different ways to do it, depending on where you are, what if you're using your cell phone versus your laptop, depending on what you're trying to get done. These ways will help you add all of your documents into DocuSign. So the first one I'm going to go over, which most of you already know, we went over it week 1 when I went over about creating your opportunity, is through compliance. So when you get into your room, which I'm in here now, I'm in my opportunity room here. And when you come in here and you click documents, the first thing you're going to see is you're going to have a choice. You can either pick your checklist type here on the left-hand side, or you can move over here to the right-hand side and you can click start a transaction, and that'll bring you right into your DocuSign room. Now, if you choose your checklist first, and I choose Massachusetts residential, and it fills out like it does.
George, are you sharing your screen with us?
I can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm like looking everywhere. I'm like, where is it?
No, my bad.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Sorry about that. All right. So as I was saying, you're in your compliance section of command. You're in documents. When you first come in here, it's a blank screen. You can choose your checklist type over here on the left-hand side. Drop it down, you see Massachusetts residential, commercial, New Hampshire residential. And on the right-hand side here, you'll see start a transaction. Now, if you come over here to the left and you choose a checklist first, so say we choose Massachusetts residential, and then it all fills in like we've all seen it done before, and then you come over and you create your transaction, all of the documents that are in the checklist that are required will autofill into your room.
Oh, wow.
Now, some people like that, some people don't. So if you don't like that, don't choose the checklist, come over, create the transaction first, create your DocuSign room, and then choose the checklist. And then those documents will not auto load. You will have an empty room, and then you can manually add documents into it. So this was just a little added bonus to help agents bring the documents over automatically. And just to give you an idea, so I just changed it. So obviously when you choose the checklist, this fills out, and any of the documents that have the DS logo beside it, those are the documents that will be automatically loaded into your room. Some people like that. Some people say that too many documents that they don't use load in and they have to delete them. So there's no right or wrong way. Whichever way you prefer, that's what you want to do to utilize these tools to upload. All right. The second way.
Excuse me, I got a question, George, okay?
Yep.
So I know you're putting packets together, buyer, seller, whatever. Do we have the ability over here, this screen that we're looking at, can we create packets here to load, buyer, seller over there?
No. In here, you're talking about in DocuSign or in Command?
We're in, where are we now? In Command, aren't we?
We're in Command, yeah?
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering in Command. We can't do it in Command. We can do it in DocuSign though, right?
Say it again. What did you want to add?
A template, a folder template that would be, the documents that we use, let's say for buyer transaction, buyer single family, buyer condo, buyer multifamily, that kind of thing. Can we categorize or break it down that way? So that
No, so you're talking about in here, which is, so I'm going to jump into the second means of
Okay.
adding documents,
Okay,
which is the groups in the libraries.
okay, I'll be quiet.
No. All right, let me just open this up here. Okay, so from here, you have experience, so you're in your room and you come up here to the blue add button. Now you have two choices from your hard drive, from your computer, and from the DocuSign forms. We're going to cover the computer in a second. That's going to be the next one, but we're going to go over DocuSign forms, how to add. So from here, you just click DocuSign forms. And what it does is it will bring you to your libraries, which are right here. And if you notice, we just added two new libraries. We have the GBAR forms now, the Greater Boston Real Estate Board forms, and we have the Maine Real Estate Commission boards. So for those agents who are licensed in Maine now, you have access to the full selection of forms in DocuSign. And for those who prefer using certain GBAR forms, you now have access to GBAR through DocuSign as well. Those were just added, I think, yesterday. But then up the top here, these are groups. This is what we add. So these are libraries down here that have all of the forms in them. But the groups is the ability for the Market Center to break them down in a little more detail and add full groups here that will make it a little easier to find documents. So what I did is I took the bio one that had all of the documents in it, and I broke it down into 3 different groups. Buyer consultation, which falls in suit just like the compliance section in Command, where it's a buyer transaction is consultation. So if you click that, you're going to see all the buyer documents that you would typically need for the consultation, and also the ones you would need to upload. So this makes it a little easier to find the documents, and you're looking at maybe 10 at a time versus looking at 34 documents list and having to scroll down and find the ones that you want. And then you'll see under agreement here, I did the same thing. All the documents that you would typically use for when a sale for a buyer goes under agreement, plus 1 or 2 extra I might have thrown in there that you might find useful. And then I did the additional forms. This is where, these are all the other possible forms that you might need during this transactions, addendums, extensions, cancellations. Just put them all in here. These are the ones that you probably don't see or use most of the time, and I didn't see why agents had to keep going through all of these to find the ones they do need regularly. So I broke them down into 3 categories here, but these are groups. And similar to what you were just asking me about creating groups, we can create groups, but we don't want to be creating too many of them, because if we had 20 of them down here, it could get confusing as to where the documents are. And a buyer purchase of a single family, a condo, or a multifamily, documents are pretty much the same. There might be 1 or 2 additional ones, but for the most part, they're pretty identical. So that's why we kept these 3 folders here. And I'm going to be doing the same thing for the listing paperwork, and then working my way through New Hampshire and even doing rentals. So as I do them, I will notify everyone for it. And as you're using these, as always, if there's a document that's not in there that should be, for whatever reason, please let me know, bring it to my attention, because I have full access to adding, subtracting documents now. DocuSign is now my responsibility to take care of. So any questions on how to add documents through the add button here and coming in through libraries and groups?
You've just showed us 2 ways now, right?
Yes.
Okay, this was way 2. Okay, thanks.
This is, yeah, this is the
That's
second.
really helpful also, George, what you did there, breaking it down into the different phases. That's going to be really useful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm hoping it'll help agents learn what those forms are too, to get an idea of what they are, because the consultation, they'll be associated with the consultation. Those are all the ones that you need, versus just seeing 37 of them in one folder. It can get kind of confusing. And what I try to do is I try to map what I did in Dotloop when I was teaching it by breaking it down. So thank you for the feedback. Keep me updated. This is a system that I want to make better and easier for us. So any feedback regarding forms that are missing or that are not working properly, they may not have been mapped properly, so they're not filling in, or the signature box is not coming in. Let me know what those are, because I have access to fix that.
Speaking of which, George, last time we were on the call, you were going to look into getting the inclusion exclusion checklist boxes mapped. So
Yes,
they could click on them online instead of.
that's
having to
on
print
that's
them.
on my list of forms. I have a bunch of forms that I submit into them with these changes, so that's one of them already. But thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
So George, just for clarity for me, it's only you or the market center that can do any modification here to groups and add it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
But then we have and also the forms, or we do have the ability to, we can delete some of the forms we don't want, or?
Well, once you bring them into your room, once
Yeah.
you've downloaded them into your room, you can delete them out of your room. But
Okay.
agents don't have access to the libraries or the groups. That's leadership, and
Okay.
basically me now to do that.
Mhm.
All right.
So George, just one more thing. So where we are now in DocuSign is in a room, or could you, where?
Yes, we're in a room.
Okay, we went from command to go to a transaction. That's what we did, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thanks.
So we're in a room right now.
Mhm.
And I'm going to show you the third way of adding documents. Come up to the blue add button, and now you're going to add it from your computer. Now, for whatever reason, you download documents, you need to upload them onto your computer. I would recommend getting in the habit of trying to download anything that you're going to have to upload, put it on your desktop. It's just easier to organize and faster, so you don't have to scroll through all of your folders and figure out where it went. Now, sometimes if you can't find it on your desktop, it will go to your downloads folder. But I try to make it a habit when I'm downloading something, it asks me where I wanted to go. I put it on my desktop. Then once I'm all done uploading it, I go back onto my desktop and I delete them. So now I clean up my desktop and I don't have all these files, extra files sitting on my computer somewhere because I can't find them and I forgot to go back and delete them. I regularly delete my desktop to keep it clean and free up my hard drive. So here, we're gonna upload a document from my computer, and I have one set up for this class. So say, for instance, you downloaded some documents off of MLS, or you scan something in and now it's on your computer and you want to upload it in here. So you're going to come and find it, click open, and it's added right into your room. Very simple, nice and easy. Most of you probably have already known that, but I just want to go over that again. So again, add computer, and then scroll through and find where that document is.
Hey, George, I do have a question for you, not really about adding the documents, but every time I open up my room, it defaults back to the tiles instead of the list. How do you set it as a default to show up as a list?
Actually, I just click the list. It usually stays.
Oh.
Yeah, when I click the list, I click the list over here. It always stays that way when I come back in.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It doesn't work when every time you come back into the same room.
You know what? That's the thing. Maybe I do have to go back and make sure I'm going back into the same room. I thought you could just do it once, that you'd prefer to have it set up as list, and it would do that for every room. So maybe it's just I have to go do all the rooms and set it up as list.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. Just click list in all of them. And when I start creating a room, I automatically create it as a list
Okay.
as soon as I open it. So, and then I have to worry about it again. Okay, so just to recap, we've added documents through our compliance page by choosing the checklist first before creating the DocuSign room. We've come in and we've added a document by clicking the blue add button and going to the DocuSign forms and pulling them from our library and our group. And now we just uploaded a document from our computer into DocuSign. So 3 ways that we've added. Any questions on those 3 ways that we've added documents? Okay.
Me
Now the
again, sorry, me again. So on this screen to add, it can only be one document at a time. We can't.
Oh, no.
Oh, we can check multiple documents on our hard drive and they will all come up. Okay, great.
No, I only have one PDF. Yes, you can like click, hold down the control button.
Yep.
Click.
Okay,
click.
great.
Yep.
Good. Thanks.
Bring as many as you want.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to email a document directly into your room. This was something we did in Dotloop, and DocuSign has the same feature to do so. So no matter which room you're in, if you go up to the top and you click the inbox. Now this is your inbox for DocuSign. This is not your inbox for that room. This is your general inbox. The rooms don't have inboxes. The DocuSign has an inbox. And if you look right here, you'll see your email address for your inbox. And actually, when you get over that, you highlight it, a little drop down comes in and says, this is your inbox email address. Any document sent to this address will be added to your inbox. So what I would suggest doing is copying this and adding it as your contact into Google Contacts or in your phone, wherever you're using your contacts and you want to add this in there and call it DocuSign inbox or whatever you want to call it to kind of help you remember this. So this way, when you want to forward something into your inbox, you just go into your email, which I'll show you in a second. And when you forward it, you start typing it in, it'll automatically pop up. And I'll give you an example. So I'm going to come here into training. Okay, so I'm going to take this email here and I want to forward it into my inbox. Now, I've already created the contact for myself in my Google Contacts. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to forward this email. Now, I do have a PDF attached to this email, and I also have a Word doc. It will only bring over PDFs. That's all that you can upload is a PDF. So I'm going to forward this into my inbox. So you can see here, I've called it DocuSign inbox. I have it all set here. Click. And then send. Then I'm going to go back into my inbox. Now it takes a little bit, so I'm refreshing it. So we'll wait for a second for it to pop in. Once it pops in here, then you have the ability to move it from this inbox to any room that you want to. Okay, any questions on using the inbox and having forwarding emails to an inbox? Another thing you could do with this is think about it. Okay, you know this is here. You know an agent's going to email you something that you're going to bring into to DocuSign into DocuSign. You could just tell them to email it to that email address. Bypass sending it to you directly. Just have them email it directly to that. And that PDF that's attached to it will automatically pop into your inbox. So that could be helpful. So knowing the tools to use, you can come up with different ways to use them based on your
Sure.
situation and where you are.
Once you bring in a document, is there a way to split it like there was in Dotloop?
Yes. And we went over, I think we went over that. Did we go over that? No, we're gonna go over that
We
next
haven't done
week
that
in
one yet.
envelopes. I'm sorry. Yes, you can split and you can combine. So yes, we're gonna go over that next week. Okay, so the document showed up in my inbox. This is the PDF that was attached. So to get this into one of my rooms, I just click the circle that's up there and you see a bunch of icon options right here. You're gonna go to move. Once I click move, it's giving me a select a destination. So I click the drop down and now I have some choices. I can send it to an active room, under review room, closed room, or my documents. So I'm going to be sending it to an active room. And now it's going to ask me, which room do I want to send it to? So I can scroll down and look which room I want to send it to, and then move. And now I'm going to go back to that room. I'm going to go into my documents. TRID, adding documents by email. So there it is. So I emailed it to my inbox and then I moved it to my room. All right. Any questions on what I just did? Okay. So that was pretty simple, right? Pretty easy. But wouldn't it be a little easier if you could just send the document straight into your room and bypass the inbox? Yes, it would be. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go back to the email that I wanted to forward and do the same thing that I started doing. Forward the email. You got to send it to your inbox email address. Okay, this is exactly what we did last time. The only difference is we are going to add this room ID. And see when you hover over it, the drop down shows up and it says copy and paste this room ID number into your email subject in order to send documents into this room. So you just copy the asterisk, the pound sign in all of the number. Copy. You want to come back to your email that I've already set up to be forwarded. So it's going into my inbox. I'm going to edit the subject line. So I'm just gonna delete what's in there now. And I'm just gonna paste the room ID. Now, before I do that, don't worry, I'm just gonna delete these forms in here. So you can see them when it gets added in again. So I'm gonna forward this now. And now, assuming technology doesn't like to throw me a curveball, that document was now brought, it'll take a little bit, will be brought directly into the room.
George, do you have to delete the whole subject line in
You
order
don't
for it
have
to?
to. You don't,
It could just be in there. You could just add it at the end and it'll go.
it should. As force of habit, I have designed, I actually, to be honest with you, I've never added it at the end. I've always had it at the beginning. And it's funny, I just learned this trick 2 weeks ago. And I'm playing around with different scenarios on how to email it, whether I put it first, or I put it last, or I have to delete it. And but right now what I do is I delete the line and I just put that inbox in right now. I haven't played around with it yet to see how it works the other way.
So George, I'm thinking if we wanted to embrace this for our protocol for receiving offers, and we want to, put this into MLS, how we want offers submitted. So could we ask for a one PDF file and give that email address and, what's in the, in other words, can all the offer documents be in one PDF file as an attachment?
Well, yeah, because a lot of sellers do ask that. A lot of listing agents ask that all offered paperwork be submitted as one PDF.
Yep.
So you could give them, you say, please send all offers to, and give them your DocuSign.
Yep.
And they
give
would
them
all pop into your inbox. You would still have to move them.
Why couldn't we give them the room number?
Well, you can. You just want to make sure you're not making it too complicated for them. You want to make sure it's getting to you too. So you could absolutely do that. So you'd have to just be careful that people don't make mistakes or they don't fully understand it and it doesn't get to you.
There could be a written addendum uploaded, a PDF file uploaded to the listing for offer submission, and the instructions could just be down on paper, right?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. And that's what a lot of agents do. They have those with instructions what to do. So, and you could absolutely give them that specific information so that it all gets brought in here. I just want to make sure that you're careful that they follow the instructions properly, where to send it to, what to put in the subject line, especially if they're not familiar with doing it.
Yeah.
But yes, to answer your question, absolutely, you can do that. Absolutely.
And can be multi-pages in a PDF. One PDF file with multiple pages. And when it lands in the room, it's going to, each document in that PDF is going to show, or just
No,
that one master?
It'll be one PDF. And then in next week's class, I'm going to show you how to split them.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, let me just double check here. Right here. All right, so it was added in here. So it did take a little bit, but it did get in there. So again, we just added a document directly into the room by using our inbox email address and by adding the room ID into the subject line. Any questions about that so far? Okay. So I'm going to show you one more way of doing it, of adding a document to your room. And I think you're going to really like this one. So how many of you have had an email chain with a buyer, seller, attorney, lender, somebody that you said, I want to save this. This might come back. I want to make sure this doesn't bite me later on, or I want to document that this is the conversation we had, or well, for whatever reason, you wanted to save that email chain that you had and you wanted to add it and save it someplace safe. Now, in Gmail, you can absolutely create folders on the left-hand side, which you see I have quite a few of them, but then you have to go through them and you have to remember where that one was, and you're just adding more emails that you're trying to save. Well, you can actually save that email as a PDF into your DocuSign room. And I'm going to show you how. So again, I'm going to use the same email as an example. I'm going to forward this email just like we were doing before. So it's the same routine. Send it to my DocuSign inbox. I'm going to, oh, I'm going to do this right this way. Oh. So I added the room ID, and we're going to do it with the wording already there and see how that works out. So there's one more thing you need to do. You need to type in pound PDF. That sends a message to convert this email to a PDF and upload it into DocuSign. Now, normally what I say is, then you'd want to relabel this. So the other documents, you probably could leave what was here because all you care about is the PDF attachment being uploaded. So what is in your subject line probably does not matter at that point. But here, the entire email is going to be a PDF. And whatever follows this is actually going to be the title of the document. So for this, you may want to put something here that is relevant and that gives you information about what that is about. And just say it's attorney agrees to pay $1,000 to buyer.
George,
Okay.
would this also work if there are images attached?
It
Will
will,
it change
yeah,
the
you're gonna see what it looks like. It doesn't bring the images over. It brings the text. The images will be in boxes and you'll see some computer language there. So it doesn't really convert them very well, but the narrative, the text is what is brought over. So it's going into my DocuSign room. I have the room ID right here. I have the pound PDF. And I have a description of the email. And then this, I'm going to hit send.
Does it bring over any PDFs that are attached in there as well, or just the text of the emails?
We're going to check that out right now.
Great.
Actually, I'm going to delete this one just so we can see. It takes a little bit. So while we're waiting for that to happen, so that's another way of adding a document to DocuSign. So that is 6 ways to add documents to your DocuSign. Does anyone have questions about any of them? Because there's a lot. The first 3, I think everyone is pretty much familiar with. It's the last 3, the emailing, that I want to make sure people are comfortable with if they're not, because it's a lot of information. And if just as a reminder, on a piece of paper, just write down pound PDF as a reminder that you'd have to put that there until you get used to it, that you know that that's what you need to add. Okay, so right here, it added the PDF of the email. So we're going to open this. So if you see, it didn't bring the photos, don't come in, and there's a lot of other, it doesn't pick up a lot of, I don't know what the word is, technical mumbo jumbo that's on your email, but you see all the narrative comes out well. So obviously if I had text in an email, I could scroll down and you could just follow the email chain of what was said, no matter how big and long it is. Now it's saved as a PDF inside your DocuSign room. And it added the form as well. So yes, so your question, It did both. It added the document and it saved the email as a PDF. So, any questions?
This is great. This is just the bomb.
The more you learn about this, the more tool. Now, you may not use some of this for a long time, and then suddenly you're in a situation, and now you know you have that as an option. And that's what's going to make things more easier and more convenient for you when using DocuSign. Okay. So I appreciate everyone coming. I went over the add to document. Does anyone have any other questions on DocuSign? Because I can hang out a little longer. People had some questions. I figured you have me now. Take advantage of it if you had any other questions on DocuSign, but I wanted to first make sure that everyone was fine with adding documents.
Question just about the your agenda. So every week you'll tell us what you're doing on this Tuesday, right? This Tech Tuesday.
Yes, I post that in the Geek Squad with my graphic that I have with an arrow pointing what we're talking about. It also goes out every Tuesday morning in my tech email that goes out. So next week's class is the last of the four classes in DocuSign that I was teaching. And tomorrow, next week, is going to be about using the envelope and using pre-tagged roles. And I'm working on a lot of those documents to make sure those pre-tagged roles work even better. So hopefully with all the improvements and training that we're having, we're going to be able to chop down the amount of time it takes for you to do something in DocuSign. We're constantly tweaking it and adding conveniences and shortcuts. And I'm constantly getting training and updates through Keller Williams International. I'm now a certified Keller Williams DocuSign instructor. So I'm always privy to tips and tricks that people are showing that we have. So anytime I pick up on anything like this, I'm going to share it with everyone to help make your DocuSign experience a better one. And my goal for the end of this year is to get away from all the people who are negative about DocuSign and have people start loving it, because it can do so much as long as we organize it. Yeah, I know. Big goals. I know.
No, we're getting there.
We're getting there, slow and steady.
So George, sometimes when I'm adding a document, it doesn't go in the room. I haven't figured out what I'm doing. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, but I can't identify right now a particular situation to help me understand what I've done sometimes and not apparently other times.
Okay, so that's a perfect example of scheduling a one-on-one with me, so I can share your screen and watch exactly what you're doing and help pinpoint what's happening, either something that you are doing or you're not doing, and be able to figure out, because it sounds like it's specific to you. I want to be able to see what it is that you're doing to get a better understanding of where the fix is. So if you want to schedule some time with me, a 30-minute meeting, and I can share your screen and we can figure that out together.
Okay. Will do, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions for today, I appreciate everyone coming today. I hope you found it helpful and informative, and you're excited to get back into DocuSign and use these new tools and tips. I'll see everyone next Tuesday at 1 o'clock when we go over creating envelopes and using pre-tagged roles. So until then, I'll see everyone later.
Thanks,
Bye.
George. You're the
Thank you.
best.